Captain Traore and allies exit the International Criminal Court. The rebellious West African countries Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger have announced their withdrawal from the International Criminal Court, denouncing it as a tool of neocolonial repression. The announcement, in a joint statement, was published on Monday, according to the Reuters news agency. This is the latest example of anti-colonial upheaval in West Africa's Sahel region following the kicking out of the French by the military-led governments of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. The coming to power between 2021 and 2023 of Captain Ibrahim Traore, General Assimi Goïta, and General Abdourahmane Tiani, respectively, has led to serious steps to liberate their countries from civil war, poverty, and ruthless exploitation of their natural resources by the French in particular. The three countries have already split from the West African Regional Bloc, ECOWAS, and formed a body known as the Alliance of Sahel States. They have also curbed defense cooperation with Western powers and sought closer ties with Russia in their efforts to defeat violent Islamist extremists who are waging war in their drive to take over these countries. All three accuse the West, especially the French, of conniving with the Islamists, rather than seeking to destroy them. Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger have been members of the ICC, located in The Hague, for more than 2 decades. But their statement said they viewed the court as incapable of prosecuting war crimes, crimes against humanity, crimes of aggression and genocide. They did not specify examples of where the countries believed the ICC had fallen short. But anyone with a modest IQ is aware of the failed efforts by the ICC to prosecute Bibi Netanyahu and his accomplice Yoav Gallant for war crimes committed in Gaza from at least 8 October 2023 to 20 May 2024. Although an arrest warrant was issued on 21 November 2024, not one member country of the ICC has taken significant steps to apprehend and arrest the accused. This warrant alleges that Netanyahu, along with former Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, bears criminal responsibility as co-perpetrators for war crimes and crimes against humanity. In contrast, several African leaders and militia commanders have been arrested and convicted of war crimes by the International Criminal Court, ICC. 2 recent cases come to mind. Alfred Yekatom and Patrice Edouard Nguesona, former leaders of the predominantly Christian anti-Balaka militia in the Central African Republic, CAR, were convicted by the ICC on July 24, 2025, of multiple war crimes and crimes against humanity committed between December 2013 and August 2014. Yekatom was sentenced to 15 years in prison, and Nguesona to 12 years. Their crimes included murder, directing attacks against civilians and religious buildings, forcible displacement, and persecution. How is this different from the allegations of war crimes committed by Israel in Gaza? Jean-Pierre Bemba, former vice president of the Democratic Republic of the Congo and leader of the Movement for the Liberation of Congo, MLC. He was prosecuted and convicted by the ICC for crimes committed by his militia in the CAR during a 2002 military intervention. His forces were found responsible for murder, rape, and pillaging against civilians. It is well documented that Bemba was convicted in 2016 by the ICC and later acquitted on appeal in 2018. There is evident double standards at work here. While Bibi Netanyahu can act with impunity in Gaza, African leaders are easily hauled in the docks, put on trial, and convicted for similar crimes in the ICC warrant for the arrest of the Israeli Prime Minister. Bibi Netanyahu claims he is fighting Hamas extremists to justify the killing of Palestinian women and children, starving of civilians, and bombing to smithereens of their homes, schools, and hospitals. Meanwhile, the 3 countries are currently battling Islamist militant groups that control large swathes of territory and have staged frequent attacks on military installations this year. Not surprisingly, the usual suspects in the West, who these days wring their hands in impotence at war crimes in Palestine, are angling to file charges against the leaders of the alliance. Already Human Rights Watch and other groups have accused the militants, as well as the militaries and partner forces of Burkina Faso and Mali, of possible atrocity crimes. The ICC already opened an investigation in Mali since 2013 over alleged war crimes committed primarily in the northern regions of Gao, Timbuktu, and Kidal, which had fallen under militant control. France, who were then present in Mali, intervened to push back the insurgents later that year. In my opinion, this explains why the case went no further. Is it any wonder Captain Traore and his allies are shutting the door on the ICC? They are telling the world Africans need equal rights and justice, not the double standards and bias of Western-based institutions. Meanwhile, Donald Trump and his administration, since last February, have already imposed targeted sanctions on several prosecutors and judges at the International Criminal Court, simply because they dared prosecute Bibi Netanyahu and his cohorts. On the very day of writing this post, they went further, announcing their intention to impose sanctions as soon as this week against the entire International Criminal Court, putting the court's day-to-day operations in jeopardy. This was explicitly in retaliation for their investigations of suspected Israeli war crimes. If the ICC cannot investigate and prosecute Bibi Netanyahu, why should any country be subject to its jurisdiction? While many African and Caribbean countries subject themselves to Western double standards by their continued membership in the ICC, Traore and his other members of the Sahel Alliance are setting an example, exiting this corrupt neocolonial institution before it comes tumbling down. Thanks for listening. To show your support for the Caribbean Hawk, like and subscribe on both YouTube and Substack.